This is Ron from the FSMOne Investment Advisory Team. My presentation would focus more on products and services offered by FSMOne. So in a nutshell, the products are all available for investing on FSMOne. And for those new to our platform, I will now go through some of the minimum investment amount and pricing structure for each product. So unit trusts are available for investment via a lump sum one-time investment or regular savings plan. Starting this year, we have also adjusted most of the minimum lump sum investment amount to $100. So for ang pao monies collected this year, you can start an investment with us instead of putting it in the bank for negligible interest rates. Also, we do not impose any upfront processing fees for unit trust purchases. So 100% of your capital is deployed into the market directly. We do charge a platform fee of 0.05% per quarter for bond funds. For other funds like balanced or equity funds, it will be 0.0875% per quarter for the first 300,000, 0.05% for amounts above 300,000. And if you're a diamond client with more than 500,000 worth of assets with us, not limited to unit trust funds, the platform fee for unit trust is fully waived. Okay, next up to ETFs. So ETFs are also available for lump sum and RSP investments. However, new investors should take note that minimum investment amount would depend on the lot size that the ETF is listed on. So for ETFs listed on the SGX and the US markets, lot size for ETF is typically one share unless otherwise stated. And lot sizes for Hong Kong Exchange, it varies between 10 shares, while some can be 100 shares. So all this information will be available on each individual ETF's page. So processing fees wise, it is 880 Sing dollars flat for SGX buy and sell orders. For Hong Kong Exchange and US markets, it is 0.08% or minimum 50 Hong Kong dollars and 880 US dollars respectively. For RSP buy orders, it is usually 1 Sing dollar, 5 Hong Kong dollars, and 1 US dollar for the three respective exchanges. But we have announced during our recent What and Where to Invest 2022 that we are bringing down the processing fees for ETF RSPs to 0% for the entire year of 2022. So if you have been considering whether it's time to start your investment journey, now would be the great time to do so with FSMOne. Do note that exchange-related charges would apply for both lump sum and RSP investments, and you may visit fsmone.com for more information about these charges. Next, stocks are actually similar to ETFs in terms of minimum investment amounts and charges applicable. So just note that SGX lot size for shares is 100 shares instead of one share for ETFs. So in this case, you can buy one share of Tesla, but not one share of DBS. Okay, moving on to bonds. There are typically two types of bonds, retail and wholesale. So retail bonds generally start from $1,000, and for wholesale bonds denominated in SGD, investments start from 250,000 Sing dollars nominal value and 200,000 US dollars for bonds denominated in USD. For bonds, there's a processing fee of 0.35% for both buy and sell orders, as well as platform fee of 0.05% per quarter. One thing to note for new investors into bonds is that unlike stocks, bonds are not traded on exchanges since there's no bond exchange in Singapore. Hence, if you would like to buy a bond on our platform, our dealers will actually contact counterparties to source for the bond for you. So all bond trades are considered over-the-counter trades, or OTC for short. Financial jargons or certain market news can be daunting for some new investors. However, we feel that that should not discourage you from investing, taking your first step into investment. So with our managed portfolio solutions, MAPS, you can achieve a diversified portfolio right from the start instead of having to assess different stocks, funds, or bonds before crafting your own portfolio. We have 5 different risk levels to cater to investors with different risk appetite. So if you're unsure of your own risk appetite, do make use of the risk profiling questionnaire on FSMOne to better understand your risk profile. For managed portfolios, there is a management fee of 0.0875% per quarter for the conservative portfolio and 0.125% per quarter for the other 4 portfolios. Now, from the start of the session, we have mentioned about RSP quite a number of times. And if you're still unfamiliar with how an RSP works on FSMOne, just understand that it is a monthly contribution plan where we can either deduct the monies from your FSMOne cash account or do a direct debit from your bank account to buy into the product of your choice. So there's no lock-in period for RSP, and you can adjust your monthly contribution amount anytime. Furthermore, we also provide complimentary advisory service for new investors to start your initial portfolio. And also investors can initiate discussions to review their holdings with us. And for portfolio reviews, we generally recommend doing it once a year. And there are some tools and functions you can utilize on our platform to help you make a better investment decision. So tools such as fund and ETF selector, where you can view and compare each fund's information and track record. Stock and ETF calculator, where you can calculate the total amount for consideration, including all relevant exchange fees. And finally, bond selector, where you can search for bonds that suit your investment profile. So for fund selector, you can make use of this fund selector to compare unit trusts and ETFs at the same time. So in this example, if you're an investor who wish to compare the past performance of a US equity unit trust versus a US equity ETF, you can see that the ETF, the expense ratio of the ETF is lower compared to the unit trust. And also, the ETF paid a 1.25% dividend yield over the last 12 months. You can also compare the past performance over a 10-year period. And for the visually inclined investors, there's also a nice graph for you to refer. So when I mentioned earlier that there are some exchange-related fees payable for each trade, they will be reflected in the stock calculator as highlighted in the slide. And you can see, you can also see that the investment amount is indicated clearly. Similarly, for the ETF calculator, exchange-related fees are calculated and presented together for your consideration. So finally, to search for a bond on FSMOne that suits your investment criteria, do make use of the bond selector. It lets you filter various fields such as yield to maturity or in years to maturity so that you can generate a list of bonds that is most suitable for you. Well, we can go on and on about the resources available on our website, but we understand your time is precious. So if you have any queries that we didn't manage to cover today, feel free to reach out to us via these channels.